Howdy lovelies, how are you all doing? Welcome back to our crafting, where we learn, grow and craft together. In today's session we are going to use that stamping on fabric that we've done the other day, and we are going to make a lovely mixed media tag with that. So without further ado, let's get started. Now if you have followed me before and watched my videos, you will know that I hardly ever, well, seldomly, really, very rarely, have a plan when I get to start with a project. I normally do something that I feel like, spur of the moment, and we see where it goes. Now, it's summer for most of us in the southern hemisphere, where I'm from, South Africa. It is winter, and currently it is freezing cold in South Africa. It's snowing. Yes, my mind is reeling. I'm thinking about those poor people, and they also have the issue with load shedding, with the local power supply company can just not cover the demand of electricity to run households and shops, commercial properties, and supply it with electricity 24/7. They have severe load shedding. In some places they are 12 hours without power in times where it is freezing cold and they cannot cook food. It's really, really bad. So my heart goes out to them. We're going to start with our tag. Now the experiment was to actually print or stamp with archival ink, which worked perfect. We tested it with water, didn't run. That yellow stain at the bottom, and there was because my fingers were stained when I was doing it. Not that they are looking any different right now, because I do play with inks quite often. And no, I don't mind it that my fingers are stained. It washed off eventually. So one load of dishes and the ink stains are gone. So that's beautiful. Now this I want to use as part of this tag. Yes, that will be there. I don't mind. Might tear or cut parts of this or do this in its entirety, and I want to use some book pages to start off with. So I've got a few here next to me that we're going to use. I'm going to use gesso as clear gesso, and I'm going to use Collage Medium Matte. I think I am not too sure what I will be using, but the normal glues for these type of papers. I do have some French, I do have English, I have some dictionary pages, there's some green, I don't know why, some technicals, some English, all kinds. So I'm going to start, and yes, these were absolutely done so that I normally cut these strips off, and I use that to stamp on sentiments, maybe some faux vintage postage stamps. So I'm going to not worry too much about this. It's very fragile, as you can hear. So I'm going to start with some Mod Podge. I might have too much, but rather too much than too little. I don't know where this is going to take me. I don't know what shape this is going to take on. I just want to add some there. I'll grab my trusty access card again, just to get things glued down. So from this, yes, we'll punch a hole in again afterwards when we're done, for in case we want to add some ribbon or lace or string or tassel or something to round off the tag. Now I did feel there's a bit that was left in here, just running my paintbrush there again so that it can glue down. Now Mod Podge is a bit difficult. I'm just going to grab, once it's dry, it's really difficult to get off. Just grabbing a baby wipe, and of course because my fingers are stained, see already that is drying, and it is a battle to get that off once this is dry. I'll just wipe the surface quickly, and I should have worked with the silicone mat, but we can work with a cellophane packaging. That can also work. I just normally run a paper towel over it so that I know it is clear and not staining anything. So let's see what else we want to add here. I just want to see how far this is going to go down. Till about there, so we need something just to fill up that space. So let's do a bit of dictionary page. This is real nice, and it's an Afrikaans one. going to tear it at an angle, and that is perfect. I love that. It actually covers that perfectly well, though I would still like to add a little bit more, different papers maybe. And yes, the Mod Podge dries really, really quickly, especially where I am. It is very hot dry. Just want to move that a bit over and grab the card again, and it's beautifully covered. Turn over, trim off the excess on the sides, and also that tiny bit at the bottom. Now these little slivers, I don't keep it. I know people that are making paper, they will use this and then shred it and make their own paper with it, which is still something I would love to try one day. This can go into a, just want to, when using a book from a different language, I'm always just wondering, maybe I am, adding parts that might be offensive or stuff like that, and I will not even know that. So I'm adding this with a little bit of Mod Podge on those ends. So now this needs to go into water. For this one, I am going to add a bit of gesso, I think, just because we can, just to soften the edges of this a bit. Yes, I normally just take it from here. And we now have that wet. This part we will not see too much of. We'll just show a bit of it. Just like so, I think. That is perfect. Truly all part of the fun. And this just needs to dry for a moment. I'm going to take this away. And that can also dry. So let's see. Next part after this is drying. It will take a little bit of time, but it shouldn't take too long for this to dry. We'll give it a moment or so. In the meantime, I'm going to grab a few things that I want to add. Don't know yet what I want to. I want to use some stickers that I hardly ever use. That is not the best English, but just put that in the background and get this on there. But we will have to be careful when we add it, because this is not done with archival ink. It's done with distress ink, so it is going to bleed, and it is fine. We'll just incorporate that in the look of this tag. So let's give this a moment or more to dry, and I'll be back. There is a bit of sheen there where the gesso touched, and in between it's not a problem at all. Now we need to get this on here, so I'll be using a thin Distress Collage Medium Matte to just adhere this there, because I want that as part of this. Though it was an experiment, yes, I did upload the video the other day, so I want, or it was aired the other day, I really truly want to incorporate this on here. Maybe move it up a little bit in the middle, this side. No, I wanted this side because I want the gesso that side. So before we do that, let's get some stamping done. I think that will be gorgeous. So let's see what we have here that we can incorporate. I want to, let's see quickly what is right next to me that I can use. There's just a lot of butterflies. Let's do postcard. I'll do that. Which one do I want? Kind of like this one. So I'll do that on top. Just grab a block, stamping block. Going to use archival ink in black, just so that it can stand out on top of all of that. Just wanting to ink this well. Moved it off the block, but it's okay. And now just going to add that there. Yes, part of it will be covered with a cloth, but it's part of the process. So we have that one. Now let's see, some text. Some text will be great. I've got the Mona Lisa here, which is one of the older sets stamp is anonymous sets. I'm going to add that. These are browns. Vintage photo, definitely. Now, let's do this. What's the use of having a mind if we can't change it? In archival ink, for in case we want to add some technique with water on there, and that's why I'm not adding the cloth with just normal distress ink on it. Just making sure that we have a good impression. There we have that. Wonderful. That can dry. Won't take too long. We're going to do the same thing. This time I'm going to use some ground espresso. I want it all on the same space. This one, I just want to check how far it will come over. I have an idea. I'm going to stamp this on the cloth in archival ink, so I know it's there already. Ah, it's beautiful. So it's hiding that smear of where we tested the ink with water, and I think it looks amazing. A little bit of balance. We can add some text here, which is what I will be adding right about now. Amazing. I love it when it comes together. Not that I had a plan before the time. Really no plan before the time. I'm going to just use ground espresso again, using just part of the stamp. But upside down, but it doesn't matter. I like that already. Now we will get to some airmail stamps in a moment. I think that is where my mind is going. Another one, I'll use the block for that. Should have done that in a different color. But there we have that. It can still dry, so that's good. Now, this is from another set from Tim Holtz. It's called, I'll tell you in a minute, etc. CMS 302, etc. 302, and maybe let's do the admit one, and I'll do that in black, just to pull that bit of black in. Admit one. Again, another stamp. I'm just grabbing what I have here. Let's do that on top there for an interesting layer. Not going to really see it, but it looks like a ticket now. That's from the set Warehouse District CMS 124. These stamps are permanently on my desk, like truly permanently. I'm going to just grab, I've got coffee, which is from Ranger, but I also have the purple. So I'm going to add the stamp, just wanting to make sure it's not upside down, like so, I think. There we go. I like that. And while we have that out, I am going to grab, just adding this, getting back to my old stamp set, not old stamp set, but the one with the postage stamps, which is right underneath. So I'm going to add another one. I like this filigree effect. Let's stamp that one up. And yes, I'm going to do that too in purple. So a splash of color there. And I might have been out of view there for you. Why am I doing that in color? Just because I can. And in archival ink, I might just want to do another technique, water technique on here. So it is time to add this piece of cloth on top. so that we can then finalize this. We will have that, and then maybe something on top of this still. I don't know where will this go. So I'm going to use Distress Collage Medium Matte as the glue. Let me just shake it so that it can run to the tip of the nozzle. Let me just see how far this is going to go. Collage Medium Matte is made for things like this, up to a postcard, but it will still probably show. So I'm going to start there. This might be better to just smear it with a finger, which is what I'm going to do here to get this to glue down smoother, I think. And before this dries, I now have to add this cloth. I'm going to grab my card and just pull this. There we have that. Now we have to just move that, lift it a tiny little bit and pull it that way. And then the last bit here. I will put that on the cloth itself, just so that I know where it needs to adhere. And there we have that. Isn't that awesome? So an experiment leaded to a new discovery. I like that smear of the ink, or enhances the vintage feel of this tag, which is awesome. I'll just trim that little bit of threads that hanging there. Just tidy this up a bit. There it needs a tiny dot of glue. This is probably my 4th bottle of Collage Distress Collage Medium, as I use this often as glue. There we have that. I like this. Give it a moment, as this is cloth, and no, that is not. I wonder what will happen if I put over this. I want to see. I hope I am not going to cause a lot of. It looks fine. Just adding clear gesso over this, just to seal this a bit. And I'm sure this was way too much gesso, but it's okay. I'm just going to take that card and I'm going to scrape off the excess. Wait, look at that. Total discoloration. And right now, this is becoming a mess. It really doesn't take too long for the gesso also to dry. It's a bit damp still, I think. It's not completely dry. I'm going to add a bit of Collage Medium here on this end, as it is lifting there, just so that that corner can glue down properly. There we have that. Maybe because it's wet that it's lifting, I don't know. But I think it was a good thing that I sealed the cloth with a bit of gesso. And it is clear gesso, so it acts almost like varnish. Now, I want to see, I've got, and this is apparently no longer available, which is sad, Distress Stain. This is antique linen. So I just want to see what it does. There's a bit, see, there's no green in it, but it shows up green there with a black, and let's see there too, a bit of green, and it's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect, just want that. Now, to get this decorated, the background I think is now completely done. So I want to incorporate some of the, these ugly stickers that you sometimes get. Not everything on that site is perfect. Don't want to diss them, but sure, they can sometimes have the craziest things there. Now I'm going to use the sticker. I normally just bend the corner down and push it up with my nail. That way I can split it. What else do we have there? Same thing. Push down, lift up, push down and lift up. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And it can sometimes take forever to get these things. I'll just add that there. I need to start using these. I call them ugly stickers. Seeing that we are using different kinds of languages, there's something that possibly is in Russian. I don't think it's Greek though. Now see, sometimes it works and sometimes it don't, and then when you just want to give up, it's working again. There we go. So we've got these extra bits. Now let's find some Holtz goodies, people. But he needs to sit on something. This child needs to stand on something. Or we use a gentleman. But he needs something to stand on though. I have no idea what I want to use yet. If I use this child, would he be able to sit on there? Yes, but then I close that stand completely. I kind of like that boy there. I haven't made up my mind yet. That one. See how that sticker is already climbing off there. It was just 4th of July. Look at this girl with the American flag. This one is also gorgeous. I like that. Could be a whole family portrait. Let's see, there's so many to choose from. We have to add something for him to stand on. Let's see what we can find in here. I like this. I think he can just sit there. I want to just get something there. Sorry, my little containers are a bit noisy. We have purple. Let's add a ticket. That can work. What else is there? Let's see. I'm just quickly looking for stuff. I quickly selected a few things, just a few up things, all from Tom Holtz collection. So I have all of that. Just want to use a bit of Collage Medium just to attach this. It's going to climb off continuously. So just wanting to glue this down so that it doesn't bother me. There we have that. Now better, oops, there goes everything. Better just glue this one down as well. Bit of glue, pull it up from that side too, just to make sure that it actually stays on the tag. This side seemed a bit more adhered than the other side. Now this child needs to be grounded, and I'm thinking of adding this, but let's just see where he's seated. He's about there, so I'm going to add that for him to sit on, so it will look as if he's seated on there. Just trying to see where, oh, in line with that. The beauty of this is, and that's why I am on my 4th bottle already, you can glue anything with Collage Matte Medium. And if I say anything, I literally mean anything. Metals, I use it to glue the metals down for my steampunks, glass beads, pebble shells. You saw now fabric. Of course, it's doing paper cardstock as well. So that child is now, you've got a second or so to move this. If you still want to adjust it, it glues down immediately, especially paper. It glues down so quickly. So you need to make up your mind real quick. Now, for this, I do that. There we go. I don't want to close all of that. Just going to add some of this. I don't know which pack it is. I think it's called ephemera. Might be mistaken. Going to add this. It looks cute now. Should be fine. Then this man needs to be grounded somehow. So I need something at the bottom for him. I did take out a tiny, or maybe I didn't. Let's quickly see. I need to rummage again. I'm sorry. It probably slipped my mind. I'm going to take that as it's already sort of damaged in the container. So what I'll do is I'm going to add him to that and snip off a bit. I don't know where. Let me first see where. Going to fit him in there. I think that will work nicely. So just some glue at the back, Collage Matte Medium, and I'm going to slit this ruler part now under the boy, not under the boardwalk but under the boy, and there we go. I think they are now grounded, and there we have that. Now it's already a very busy background with the printing and all of that, so I'm not going to add too much to it. And like I said, you don't have much time, much wiggle room to move this around. Once that is glued down, it's glued down. All of these are quite big. If I add that, it will cover sort of all of that. Stamps, maybe not, let's see. Going to just add that little piece there. And I will be opting for smaller pieces now. Add the shields and the circle, because these ones are really, really big. And the background is very busy, like really so busy. Maybe I didn't put glue underneath these on. Let me just put a little bit there. Just trying to make up my mind what I want. I think that kind of rounds it off well. Just a bit of darker brown on top there. Let's see where we will add this one. And I've added all these things over the postcard, but it's fine, it just gives a bit of interest there. Quite busy, quite busy. I think I will stop there with adding too many little things. This is done. Lots of numbers. We've got the purple stamps already. I think this is enough. There we have it. The background is quite busy. I think this is done. The boy is seated on the ticket. He's grounded. He's standing on that wooden ruler. And there we have a beautiful tag incorporating some fabric that we stamped. See that? The vintage look of it. I kind of like that. I really, truly do. Thank you for joining me. If you go try this for yourself, please tag Walnut Crafting on social media. If you want to see more content like this, give me a thumbs up. I will be appreciating it if you subscribe to my channel. And if you haven't done so yet, please hit that notification bell so that you can be notified when I upload new content. See you back soon. Goodbye.